Boston, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I saw where the lottery, at least at the time that I'm speaking, has worked its way up to $1.8 billion. That's a lot. It's so much you wonder, should I?
Absolutely.
That's how they get you. You know, growing up my entire life, I knew people who played the lottery. And I don't know if I know any winners. I just know a few people went missing. And like hard missing too, not even a funeral. Like, I don't know, $1.8 billion. That means even after they tax you, tax is gonna take about half of that, right? Even after they tax you, you're probably gonna be a billionaire. That's instantly a billionaire. And I'm not saying this to like, you know, be down on anybody or be disparaging, but it's like, who plays the lottery? People who need the money. So imagine needing money and then becoming a billionaire in like a day. A day. You needed 252. You had rent and a car note, and now you're a billionaire. A billionaire. You gotta capitalize the B. It's $1 billion. Even if they get you real good, even if they tax you to death, you're still high millionaire. And with some good investments, you'll hit billionaire over time. Look at. I don't think y'all understand. This is the thing, we think we understand what billion is because billionaires keep playing in our faces. But we have no comprehension of how much money that is because we're people. Forget like multiple, a billion. You can't even waste that, $1 billion. You can imagine. Oh, I had some bad investments. $1 billion's worth of bad investments? That's enough to topple a small country. No, because I look at the billionaires of the world and the high millionaires, so almost billionaires of the world. And in a couple of the examples that I'm thinking of, right? If you make it to billionaire status, whether it's through valuation of your country or your company, or whether it's through valuation of your company or just general assets and everything over time, if you hit that billion status and you didn't grow up with a ton of money, like if you're already a billionaire, it almost doesn't count. You know, you'll see billionaires, they're the sons of billionaires, and they'll be like, I made my own thing. It's like, you didn't though. But you didn't. Like you never really did anything. Like it's, and look, I know you probably worked really hard, but your hard work had $1 billion head start to it. So it's just, you know, you could make a bad idea worth $1 billion. If you put enough money behind it with enough time. Look at Crocs. And look, that's not me. No, look, that's not me just dunking on Crocs for the sake of it. I'm saying as a shoe, you are so unprepared to go into the world. Every time it rains, you kind of feel it. I've had so many fights with my friends over Crocs, and it's not about the Croc or the design or whatever. It's about the fact that it's a Swiss cheese shoe. The holes make it a shoe problem. It is not like okay, I live in New York, and we have Far too many. I don't even know the number. We have more, I believe, rats than people. I'm pretty sure there's probably 10 million for every 2 people in New York. And one time I was walking with my friend who had Crocs on. Ill-advised, especially in New York. If you want to wear Crocs in, like, I don't know, like a beachy town, go ahead. Be comfortable. Let your feet breathe. Wearing Crocs in New York City, wearing Crocs in New York City is like wearing a shirt that on the front and the back says, "Please rob me." That's the level of prepared you are to go out into New York City when you're in Crocs. My friend was in Crocs, and we were just walking down the street, okay? Just nice little stroll, having a conversation. And then, as you would expect when you are walking in New York, as it is almost law when you are walking in New York, a rat ran across our path. Some people have to deal with deers in the road. We have to deal with rats on the street. And this rat running across our path judged it wrong. Was a little late. You know, usually when you're walking in New York, a rat will run across you real fast up ahead. This rat must have had some hesitation. You could tell this rat was like, okay. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. No. I'm not gonna do it. Actually, no. You know what? I can do this. I can do this. Let me get. Ah! And then it ran across our path, but by the time it ran across our path, we were at our path. And this is upsetting. Sorry if you're eating. But the rat ran across our path, but by the time it decided to cross the sidewalk, we were already there. So this rat ran right over both my feet. And then it came time to run over my friend's feet. My friend in Crocs. And this rat looked exactly like, you know, with football players doing that spring training with the tires over here. The rat was nimble at first. It got through 2 holes, no problem. Third hole, rat tripped. Animals don't trip like people, you know what I mean? People might trip, be a little embarrassed, but we get up and we know we have a day to continue. If a rat gets tripped up in your crock, that's the rat's whole priority right now. Because to be fair to rats, they get trapped all the time. How is this rat supposed to know this isn't one of those rat traps that take you to rat heaven? And so this rat starts freaking out, starts like trying to pull the other leg out and everything, but then the next leg gets stuck. And so now this rat is, it has been 0.0 seconds, by the way. This rat has already tripped and is stuck in 2 crock holes. And is over here fighting for his life to get out. Is doing whatever he can. This rat over here, And look, I'll be honest with you right now, I don't even know if I imagined it, but I swear I heard it. I heard where the rat got free because I heard the little pulled the little foot out of the crock hole and then ran away. And then my friend, who had just been defending his Crocs, had the nerve to be like, I'm like, yeah, cut it off. You need to cut it off. Ran over my foot too, but look at me. Intact. And so you have even if it's not the company, the CEOs of these companies reach high $1 million billionaire status. You know? And it happens usually over time. Usually, if you don't come from money, you reach billionaire status or high millionaire 20, 30 years of your life. And being a psycho as well, like working 80-hour weeks and like just doing crazy stuff. And sometimes you get to get ahead because you cut some corners or you cheat some people or whatever it is. But then when you turn around and you have this like multi-billion-dollar valuation, you did it. And it took all that time, but like you're, 30 years removed from when you started. These billionaires, these millionaires, the ones that don't come from like extreme wealth, takes 20, 30 years of your life to get that money. And look how evil they are. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what happens if you get it in a day. Look. For any amount of lottery winnings and for any amount of like money, when you dream about money, that's what we do. Someone's like, what would you do with $100 million? And you might even have a list already. What would you do? And you think you know what you would do. And I'm not even saying that people are lying when they say these things. I believe that people really believe this is what they would do with the money. But then you're a billionaire in a day. Nothing can prepare you for that. Nothing can prepare you for that much money being that much power in a day. I don't know, like, I know what I'd like to think I would do with that much money. Because the amount of money that you've been living on is the amount of money you need to live. Like that, like, I know that in the US, like in America, that's like blasphemous to say. But it's like, even when I was broke, the amount of money that I had, which was not enough, was somehow still enough because I'm not dead. Do you know what I mean? And so obviously people need to get by. People deserve a higher quality of life and everything. I'm not saying this to say that if you're barely scraping by, that's all you need and be done with it. I'm just saying that sometimes you can get in your head, especially when you get a little more, that you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, to the point where people around the country who make six figures say they don't feel rich, right? And some of them making the high six figures. They've done studies about this and about why your brain never turns to rich when it's you and it's over time. You'll see millionaires say, well, I'm comfortable, but I'm not like rich. And then you're glad that it's through a screen, or else you might. But I don't know. I mean, what would that do to a person? A day. A billionaire. Who knows? Maybe money really does change people in a way that you can't even fathom until you have that much money. Maybe you get $1 billion in a day, and out of nowhere, you don't even recognize yourself. $1 billion. And you're just like, wow. Huh. I could use some slaves. I think that... Look, I don't know what makes you so evil as a billionaire over 30 years, but I can only imagine it's exacerbated when it's overnight. Like, I can only imagine it becomes instant when you get the money instantly. That's crazy. Because, look, we all have a list. Even if you act like you don't, you do. If you want that much money overnight, You might have a list. There might only be 5 things on your list. Hey, I want to take care of my friends, take care of my family, want to travel, and I want to help in a way that I've been helping, but I didn't have the money to really push the help, right? So that's what, 4, maybe you have 5 things. But then after you do all that, maybe you have some money left over. What do you do with that money? Can you make another list? Can you make a bigger list? Maybe. But if you can't, you just keep trying. Oh, let's fix the roads. Let's try to fix the school system. But then there's still some money left over. What do? I think you might lose your mind. That's probably why billionaires are like that. Because think about it. Look, their list didn't have any of the stuff I mentioned on it. But even though it didn't, it clearly had things that they cared about, whatever those were. And maybe they were only related to their company. Maybe they were only related to more business and getting more money. But even as those things got checked off and you tried to keep up with a list, you tried to make more goals and you were meeting the goals as fast as you were making the goals and everything. And then everyone around you is a yes man because they want some access to that money because they're also trying to climb, right? And then you finally have gone down the list so hard that you're just like, maybe Mars? What about Mars? Mars would be cool, right? Like, Mars would be dope. As people starve. Mars, though, that would be dope. And it's like, yes, it sounds dope. And I hope he goes. I hope he does. Like, that'd be fire. If he went to Mars, spend your fortune as the richest man in the world to be the poorest man in the universe. Because I guarantee you spend your whole life and then you finally, let's say it finally happens, you have a voyage to Mars. And let's be as generous as possible. And let's say that like the rocket works, you already sent enough stuff there that it's not like quite the movie The Martian, but it is like that because you are going to be by yourself. No, I'm just, probably. And then you land in Mars, richest man in the world. Lands on Mars, gets out, is walking around and realizes that Mars is just like Arizona with some extra tent to it. Like, looking around like, oh, okay. Whoops. Because money is... We'd like to think that it's more than this, and sometimes it is. You can point to points in history where it is more than this, but like America is money. Land of opportunity. Opportunity is access, but it's also money. Money is how we define identity. Maybe you don't as a person. Maybe, I don't believe any one person is just their job or their net worth. There are things that you are that are deeper than all that stuff that's going to pass away. But that is how we as Americans define each other, is money. In fact, when you get your identity stolen, it's because they mess with the money. I don't know of anyone who said they got their identity stolen and it was in a Lifetime movie sort of way. I have yet to meet anybody who said they got their identity stolen and they know it was stolen because they came home and there was a dude who looked just like them hugging their wife. And they were like, honey, it's me. And then she was like, And then the imposter was like, don't listen to him, honey. It's me. Can't you tell? And like, hey, what are you doing in my house? And then the kids run in and they run up to him. Hey, Dad, who's this stranger? What? Kids, it's me. And they're like, we don't know you. Our dad's been home all day. And then you have to fight with this dude. And then, there's somehow a gun in the house that nobody knew about. And Then y'all struggle, and then y'all are spinning, so then nobody knows anymore because y'all were wearing the same thing. Who's the real husband? Who's the fake husband? And you're over, you know, you're just running around, grabbing the gun, knocking the gun out of each other's hands, and then, you know, there's some bounty commercials in the middle because this is a Lifetime movie. But then you pick up the gun and you're like, get out of my home, stay away from my family, right? And then the imposter goes, and then runs up to you and y'all hug one last time. The gun goes off and nobody can tell who was shot until what is it? Until the Nair commercial. You know, like Nair, that one, like... I've watched a lot of Lifetime with my mom and my aunt. And so then they come back from commercial and y'all are both backing up and you're like, Somehow in a movie, whenever somebody has been shot and someone shot someone, they both react the same. I always find that very annoying. The person that pulled the trigger is like, but then the person who was shot is like, And then y'all back up. The gun falls. It falls in the middle. We don't need it anymore. One of you was shot. And everybody's backing up, and then you see some blood. You see blood, and then you see blood because y'all were hugging when it happened. So whoever got shot also bled on the other person. So it's been about 5 minutes and we still don't know who was shot. Very frustrating. And then finally, one of you goes, you'll always be my family. And the other one turns around and looks at you. And the wife and the kids go, Dad! And hug them. And then credits start rolling. The picture gets a little bit smaller because they got to roll the next movie right next to the other movie. So it's like it gets that little half-size thing where the credits are rolling, which actually sort of ruins the end of the movie in case there was any other note of anything that the director wanted. But anyway, and through the credits, through the little tiny half screen, you see the person hugging the family look up at the camera and go, and identity is never stolen that way. It's always stolen in relation to your bank account. No, because that's who you are. That's who you are to the bank, and that's who you are to any business entity is your money and the number that you are, you know? Now, look, I would like to think that everybody knows that everyone's more than that, but that is how you break down. That's how you're calculated. You know what I mean? You're moved around as a number, and the numbers that make up the numbers you have are how people see you, you know? So when you get your identity stolen, it's not because they actually stole who you are. They stole who you are in a version of how people see you for your money. Having your identity stolen is terrifying because you don't know when you'll get out from under this. It's you. It's you. But the bank doesn't know that. You might as well show up to the bank like you just got home to see your wife and kids and there is an imposter next to the bank teller's booth right with you. Y'all might as well be shoulder to shoulder. Like, no, I'd like to make a deposit. No, I'd like to make a deposit. Because you also have to factor in what that money doesn't just do to the person, what it does to the people around them. Some of y'all may not remember this. I barely remembered it until I started just reading about people who had won the lottery and what usually happens. Because there's this myth that everyone that wins the lottery goes bankrupt and ruins their life. It's not actually true. It's about half. Which are better odds than winning the lottery. And the difference between the people who crash out and the people who do well are the decisions they make as soon as they win. And now it's almost down to a science. There are people who are financial advisors that seek out lottery winners to help them because they've done it for other lottery winners and stuff. But there was this one woman, it was crazy. This happened in the 90s. I think it was 1990, right? This woman was a server, and she got tipped a lottery ticket. And so she, put that lottery ticket in, and she won. She won $10 million. And then everyone around her turned. The people who were also on shift with her, they tried to sue her. Because I don't know if this is one of those restaurants where, sometimes you work as a server and everyone's tips are pooled together and then you split them at the end of the night. Or if it was just that they were saying that was their table. I don't know what all the lawsuits were, but I also know that the man who tipped her the ticket tried to sue her. Yeah. Her ex-husband even kidnapped her. And she had to shoot him in the chest. The chest is one of the wildest places to get shot. Because there's still some plausible deniability there, but you know where you were aiming. And then the IRS came for her, walls closing in all around money. Because people will do crazy things for money, and people will let the idea of money shape how they treat a person, Money is only second to people in the idea of something that's in front of you that means a bunch of different things. People can mean the whole range of emotions to you, but so can money. If someone won $10 million, if they won $1.8 billion, some people see that as money, but a lot of people see that as hope. They see it as power. They see it as like a salvation out of their problems. They see it as whatever your imagination can mold. Because there are some people that if you got given $1 billion right now outright, there's so much good you do with it. And then there are other people that if you got $1 billion tonight, you'd be like, oh, I have some things to revisit. $1 billion. $1 billion means, you could buy everything around a person. You could buy everything around. Imagine for $1 billion, you could hire a private investigator to find your high school bully. All right. Because let's say they're not on, maybe they're not on social, not everybody is. And so you hire this private investigator to find your high school bully. And maybe this bully gave you like a really catchy, mean nickname, Maybe it was something that happened to you, something real bad. Maybe you got sick at school one day and maybe you didn't make it to the bathroom, right? And so he called you Wet Willie for 4 years, right? In this scenario, your name is Willie. And you hire this private investigator to track him down. Maybe his name's Travis, right? You find me Travis. And so then the private investigator says, hey, I found Travis. He's living in Connecticut, and he's married, and yeah, looks like they're pretty happy. And you're like, okay, this is good to know. And so, with your money, you buy the house that's for sale next to Travis. You're moving in one day, and Travis and his wife are walking in to their home, and you're moving one of the boxes. Nothing in the box. You don't need to move. You can pay people to move for you, but and you're like, oh, hey. Travis? And he's like, oh, Willie, Will, wow, how have you been? wow, this is crazy. Are you? Yeah, I'm moving in. Right next to you. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, yeah, that is. Wow. This house has been on sale for months. And now it's, what a coincidence. And you're like, yeah, a coincidence. Yeah, that's what it is. And you see that not only do you have this nice house in front of you, but, ooh, Travis has a phenomenal house, you know? There's an HOA, so they're pretty similar, but overall, very big and very nice, you know? And right then, Travis's wife walks up, Susie. Susie walks up, and she's like, hey, babe. And then he's like, hey, what? Me and William went to high school together. This is my wife, Susie. And you're like, oh, hi. Nice to meet you. You shake her hand, and you're like, wow, this is crazy to just, you move to a new place, and you don't know, usually you don't know anybody, and now I got pals right next door. And Travis is like, yeah, this is wild, man. You should come over for dinner sometime. Come over for dinner. And you're like, oh, wow, how's tonight? And Travis, because this is the thing about bullying. A lot of bullies don't remember what they did. And even if they remember what they did, they remember it in the context of whatever they were going through. And so even if they were like a mean kid, they just remember being a mean kid because other stuff was happening. I don't know how often real bullies think about the fallout of their bullying and what it might have done to somebody present day, So maybe Travis is perfectly pleasant. Easy to believe. It's been a long time, And so he's like, yeah, I think... no. Okay, we do have a little date night tonight, but how about tomorrow? Tomorrow night, we should have dinner. You just come over to our place. We'll cook for you. And you're like, wow, yeah, Travis, it sounds great. All right, I'll see y'all later. You take your empty box. Walk into your new house with no furniture in it. But you don't need furniture. You're here for revenge. The type of revenge that only money can buy. And you're so excited, you don't even know if you can sleep. And so you lay on the floor of your brand new house. Because hate makes you comfortable. And then the next day comes, right? The next day comes, and you've had a private investigator on Travis for a while. You even had a private investigator on Susie. You already know her name. And so the next day, during the day, you go over to Susie's workplace. Susie works at a salon, right? And so you go over and you're like, hey, what? This is crazy. Wow. Susie, neighbors, and then I need a haircut? You do hair? Wow. You get Susie to give you a haircut, and when you're getting a haircut, when you're getting the wash, the shampoo, the conditioner, and everything, there's time to talk. You get to know a person. Or pretend to, because you already hired a private investigator. So you land in the sink and y'all are chatting it up, and you're a personable enough individual, so y'all are cackling back and forth. And then at the end, Susie puts the mirror in front of your face, and you're like, wow, a magician. Truly incredible. Thank you so much. And then you go to pay, and then you put a $10,000 tip on your haircut. Susie's floored. What? I can't accept this. You absolutely can. I haven't felt this good in years. You made me look like a new man. In fact, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, I never do this, but like, are you doing anything after work? And Susie's like, yeah, the dinner that we have. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But, okay, what? I don't know, it looks like salon's closing up and everything. Dinner wasn't gonna be for a little while. I don't know, do you want to hang out for a little bit? We're gonna end up chatting anyway. Let's just chat. Let's just have a chat, and then, we'll head over to your place. And you're like, does that sound okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. It's fine. Yeah, I'll close up here. And then you're like, okay, yeah, hop in my car, right? And she hops in your car. It's very nice. It's ridiculous. It's whatever car is nice for the period we're in. So just imagine. Imagine the type of car, and it is that. And Susie's also impressed. She's like, wow, okay, you must have done very well for yourself. And you're like, yeah, I do all right. Because no matter what car it is, I assume it goes fast, right? And then he's like, actually, I know I'm new to the neighborhood and everything, but can I show you something? And she's like, yeah, sure, okay. And you drive. You end up driving to this like little patch of land that's off by the wayside, and there's a small little airfield there, and you park, and Susie's like, what is this? And you're like, oh yeah, I got a call, it was a text while you were doing my hair and everything, and there's just something I have to check out over here, so let's just walk through. And you walk through this little air hangar, and it's to your private jet. And she's like, wow, you have a jet? And you're like, yeah, I do. I mean, I guess it's a false alarm. There's nobody that needed anything. Yeah, nobody's even here. I tell you what. How about this? I know we're supposed to have dinner tonight at your place, but why don't we go to Paris? She's like, Paris? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, do you prefer Milan? We can go to Milan. What are you even saying right now? I'm like, oh, no, I'm just saying, we're supposed to get dinner. Let's have dinner. We have dinner without Travis. And then she's like, oh. I don't know what to say. What is the tip? And then now he's invited. I'm married. No, I know. I don't know. Now? Yeah, now. Actually, you know what? And then the stairs. Wow, my heart is just skipping a beat. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And you're like, great. And so then you both hop on the jet and taxiing, everything. And just before takeoff, you send Travis an audio message of the entire thing. You add a little something at the end. You're like, this is from Wet Willie. Because now you have $1 billion, and you could be good or you could
Because that is how bad things are now. We used to make fun of people that play the lottery, and now it seems like a sound fiscal decision. It sounds like a sound business plan to save a little money, put a little away, and buy some lottery tickets. Just, it's either buy some lottery tickets or, lean in front of a BMW. You know what I mean? You gotta lean in front of a BMW, coming at about, slowing down, so hopefully about 12 miles per hour, you know what I mean? Enough to do some damage, but not quite kill you, you know what I mean? Like when you get hit, it's gonna make that sound. You're gonna hear some stuff. Some of that stuff's gonna be you, and some of it's gonna be the car. You might even lose consciousness for a second, but you will, hopefully wake up and... There's some real technique to it, too. I don't know if you saw that video. There's a dude who you could tell he was too... you could tell he was too nervous. He shouldn't have done this. And not just because it's fraud. He shouldn't have done this because you could tell his heart wasn't in the grift. You know what I mean? His heart wasn't in it. Like, some people, the grift is who they are. They buy into the grift completely. When I was a little kid, my elementary school teacher got into a fender bender, right? And got in a fender bender with this dude and bumped him just enough to get a little bit of separation, but you could tell that she had hit him. And he immediately got out of his car, went into the trunk, pulled out a neck brace, and laid on the ground, right? Which, if you're gonna do that, just wear the neck brace the whole time. Then you'll even convince the person that, I'm not gonna tell you how to grift, but... So if you're gonna do this, you gotta commit. You gotta know long before this BMW takes that turn at the intersection that this is what you're committed to do. And there's a video of this dude. Still cracks me up, right? Okay, so this dude is over here, and you can tell he wants to jump in front of the car. Maybe he has the whole insurance scam planned out and everything, can sue, whatever. You just gotta let a BMW hit you and hope it's not a rental. Yeah. Oh, nothing would make you madder than getting hit by a broke person. And so then, it's over here waiting, right? And like just from the CCTV, because this is how I watched it, right? Just from the CCTV and the clip, you can tell that there's some nervousness in the knees. Like the knees don't scream commitment, you know what I mean? Like they're not, his feet aren't amped to do it. They're not like hoppy feet, you know what I mean? Like this is like, ooh, I'm gonna do some fraud. Ooh, you about to get defrauded, right? But he had more of a, oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And you could tell he was thinking too much about how he was gonna land. That's the problem. Because you gotta know, if you're gonna jump in front of a car, you gotta know, okay, am I gonna be mostly grill or mostly windshield? All right? Both have their drawbacks, all right? Now, grill will push you forward. It'll push you forward an amount that will make you look dead to a bystander. So that is a good way to go if you try to do this with witnesses, and witnesses who are not in cahoots with you, right? Windshield is very dramatic, right? Windshield is very theatrical. Usually when you see, they do a lot of windshields on like Law and Order SVU. That's usually, like when somebody running from the cops and they can't seem to catch them. They give them just enough room for them to run out of the streets. For the cop who didn't feel like running to hit them with the cop car. It's always very convenient when it's like 3 cops and then 2 of them run after a suspect, and then one of them is like, oh, All right. And then sure enough, they're always there at the right time to just bow, right? Now, if you're gonna go windshield, just know that some glass could crack, okay? And it's worse if it doesn't. If the glass doesn't crack at all, you got hit by a big bullet, okay? But if the glass cracks and you roll over the glass and maybe you land on the side of the car, that also looks very bad. But depending on how you hit the windshield depends on how believable the hit is. Because when you get hit by the grill, you're just taking the hit, right? Just boom, boom. High risk of being hurt, very high risk. Windshield looks a little bit more, oh no. Ooh, you got me. Oh, what will I do, right? Because you can't really control your body as it gets hit and it's on the windshield. So you hope you go over the windshield. That looks like a very bad hit. But if you stay on the windshield, it starts to look like your fault even if it wasn't. Like it's just, the optics aren't great. And if you slide off to the front, it looks like you didn't get hit fast at all. And so you see this dude, okay, whew, all right. And then he goes for it. But not only did I see him in the clip, in the CCTV video, like thinking about it too hard, the person in the BMW also saw him thinking about this very hard. And it didn't help that he chose to do this at an intersection, which means they were going to be slowing down anyway. And so then he finally goes to jump into the street, and they've already come to a short stop because they saw him coming. But look, he's already put a lot of thought into this. He will not be denied. And so even though the car is almost at a full stop, he goes, obviously the claim didn't go far. But you could do that, or you could play the lottery. You know what I mean?
Because I really do hope that the person or the people that win, like have a good life and do something well with it. There's so many scams now. Sometimes if the person's identity is known, that's actually what like ruins their life, because then there are scammers who will never meet this person, don't know this person, but then they will masquerade as them online, hitting up people around this person trying to get whatever private information so that they can scam that other person, not even the lottery winner, you know? And it's why people have become more savvy. Now you have lottery winners all over the world, not just in the US, and not just for like the Powerball, Mega Millions or any of that. Now you have lottery winners in the US show up with like a ski mask on. So many lottery winners look like they're there to rob the lottery. You know? And I don't know, I just look at the lottery as like maybe one of the best metaphors we have for how America is. You know, because we all participate. That money is pooled together, and it is, and I don't mean in terms of ownership, I just mean in terms of how the money came to be there. It is all of our money. It is all of our money pooled together for 1 to like 6 people to have. In fact, sometimes you'll watch the lottery. You'll watch someone win and you'll be like, wow, I worked at a company like that. That's crazy.
Because some of what the lottery of trying to make it in America is like is luck. We like to think it's hard work, because then that means everybody could do it. But it's not actually the case. I know people who have worked hard my entire life, and they were on a hamster wheel. They were on a treadmill, and they were just trying to keep up because somebody was pressing the speed up on the hamster wheel. That's what it feels like is happening to everybody right now. You know, you're doing your best, and the speed just keeps... And then, you know, some people are on a treadmill where the speed just keeps getting increased. Some people, look, to their credit, they have some golden handcuffs. Maybe they're doing a little bit better than everybody, but the margins that they live in are just as thin. And so they're on like a Stairmaster. They're up higher than the people on the treadmill, but, you know, they still run the risk of falling off at any given point. And so the other person's running as hard as they can. This person's stepping as high and as fast as they can, because if they can skip a step, it's not going to keep them good forever, but it'll keep them level for a while. And so everybody's working as hard as they can. People who make six figures are still thinking, I don't really have enough to get by. That sounds crazy to anybody who's living off of less than 50K, somewhere where the standard of living, you need to be at like 80K. There are people scraping to get by. And so rather than just accepting that this gym sucks, people just keep going as hard as they can until they either their heart gives out or they end up in one of those like fail videos. Because look, it's $1 billion. It's a billion. That's a lot. And I know it's the lottery, and I'm just making an example. I'm not specifically speaking to everyone to like go run up to the lottery office or something. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I think that we have let the lottery basically become one of the better ways to get ourselves out of a mess, you know? And it only gets you out of the mess. Maybe you can bring some people along with you. That's nice. That is nice. But you don't know everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you know your friends and your family, and that'd be very sweet for you to take care of your friends and your family, but you don't know everybody, and you don't know everybody's intentions. You don't know what everybody's going to do with the money. You don't even know if giving some of these people the money is the best thing to do. You have no idea. And maybe it's why, speaking outside the lottery now, maybe it's why like people shouldn't be able to amass that level of wealth. Not because I want to take from somebody the thing that they have for whatever reason. Maybe they really did earn it. I don't see how, but like maybe they really did earn it. Maybe they deserved every like $50 million bonus that they ever gave themselves, right? Maybe they know their heart and they know that they really deserve this money. But maybe you know, they laid off a bunch of people and they bought a bunch of stock back and they did some stuff to do some stuff to get some stuff, you know? And so I'm just saying is, you know, it's one thing when it's a lottery, it's a different thing when it's like our entire, you know. Because then they wonder, I don't know. Then they wonder, they're like, why is everybody so mad at us? It's like, oh, you can't not really get it. It seems crazy. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm an American. I would love $1 billion. It's probably part of the problem.
There's a portrait of Josh where it looks like he's about to do slam poetry.
I have a fidget ring. You can spin it. The JJ patches. We got anime Josh here. Flower crown Josh here. We have a pen. Magnet hoodie. Shablam! Ow! We love the Flowers tour.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
Man, okay. I've been excited to come to Rochester, and I have been also nervous. I mean, I cannot tell if y'all have a mountain lion or not. Listen, I can only go off of what I've been watching. And what I've been watching, I'll just walk you through it. What I saw was a news report. This news report was of someone's Ring camera. I like that the whole community is involved in the surveillance. I like that this wasn't CCTV footage. This was, a person's Ring camera. And in the Ring camera, there is what might be, probably is, definitely looked like a mountain lion going for a late night stroll. Fantastic. The mountain lions have heard that Rochester is a place worth parking, and so the mountain lions have shown up, and one particular mountain lion was letting himself be seen. That ended up on the news where I saw it, and I was like, that does look like a mountain lion. But then the internet being the internet, there were plenty of people that were like, mountain lion, that's a cougar. Nothing makes me want to get into it with people than well, actually, that's so beside the point. A very big cat is walking around Rochester. Cougar, mountain lion, help me with the major difference. And then people started to. Initially, when the report came out, there was a shelter-in-place order, right? And I heard about the shelter-in-place order, and I was like, order? Who was fighting to get outside knowing there was a mountain lion out there? Who was like, y'all know I always wanted to pet one. This is so unfair. Every time something fun happened, I gotta stay inside. Shelter-in-place order is crazy. I saw people commenting online off the video, and I saw some people that were like, "Aww." Please tell me you understand that if that awe is taken to a mountain lion, that will be the last noise you make. Oh, so sweet. Licking it. Let's go say hi. Aw. Aw. Wow, okay. And then from there, people contacted the zoo, and to y'all's credit, y'all's zoo was like, hey, nah. Everybody here's supposed to be here. Okay? We not just loose with the gates like some other zoos have been. We got all our cougars, we got all our mountain lions, every cat is here. And the fact that this thing was just strolling as well. It's not running around. Everyone that says they've seen it, it's quickly become this urban legend / mascot of Rochester. Because then the people that have seen it, and look, I'm not saying that if you've seen it, you were supposed to tackle it and take a selfie with it. I believe the people that say they saw it
I believe one person in particular that says that he saw it. I believe the man that your news interviewed that said that he saw it. This man should just be an anchor. The man is on the news and they turn and he went rawr. And I was like, go on. So far, this is very believable. He's like, it went rawr, and I was like, ooh, I'm good. No, none of that. No. I like how that's how you get away from wild animals. It's like, because admittedly, look, I'll tell you, as a black person, that's exactly what's happening. If you see a wild animal out in the not wild, you start conversing with it like somebody you owe a lot of money. Hey, look, no, hey, listen, no, look, no, please, no, no, bruh, no, thank you, no, please. Look, nah, later maybe, but no, not today. Oh, Lord help me, oh. This man gives this interview, he says he saw a row, and then he was like, no, I'm not messing with you, no, thank you, no, I'm out of here, no, I'm not, I don't mess with lions, tigers, bears, good policy. These are good things to keep in mind. I don't mess with any of them. And then my favorite thing about the interview wasn't that he was like, it could be anywhere. It could be in those bushes, as this man looked up. This is why this dude is like low-key one of my favorite people of all time, because I know exactly everything that's going through his thought process while he's talking to the news, and I also could put myself in this situation when he saw the mountain lion. No, it could be in one of these bushes, anywhere. He stopped just short of what I probably would have said, which is like, it could be anywhere. Anywhere, these bushes up here. It could be in the house. It could be you. We don't know each other. Like, how we know he didn't stand up, tuck the tail, and was like, reporting live? Matter of fact, roll up your sleeves. Let me see how furry you are. No, my favorite thing about this interview was that this man gave the interview in broad daylight, explaining what he saw while holding a bat. It's like, that's why I keep it with me right now. That's why I got it on me. And I'm like, yes, but no. No, that's why sometimes I don't like the movies that Hollywood makes, that, you know, they put scenes out there that wouldn't go the way that we've imagined. You know, you put Idris Elba in one movie with a line, and now people think they could fend off a mountain lion with, like, not a thick bat. Like, that bat looked like Pee-wee grade. That was not a slugger, you know? He was like, no, but come near me if it comes anything. No. And then y'all did not help the situation. Because then you started posting AI of y'all with the mountain lion. This woman said she heard a row and she looked and he was in the bakery, and I'm like, I'm believing it I'm believing it until I see the picture. I'm over here being like, man, this woman chill. This woman a straight gangster. She's not just a baker. It was in her store. And they showed the picture. I was like, y'all gotta stop playing. This is supposed to be the news. I was sitting there getting mad. I was like, all right, some of these clearly look fake, but a couple of them don't. Look, you can either post an AI image or you can interview the person. Don't do both. That's disrespectful to my man who's probably still carrying a bat right now. You all over here scared him, making him think the mountain lion everywhere. No. Look. Don't approach a mountain lion. If you see a mountain lion, there's a whole number you're supposed to call so some like actual professionals come deal with the mountain lion. That was another little gripe that I had that I will admit. I was like, because I was in my head, I'm like, I'm coming to Rochester. What if I see his mountain lion? I should probably memorize this number. And instead of being in any way catchy, in any way memorable, this number isn't 1-800-SIGHTING. That would be too many numbers, I understand. But like this number is just 1-375-2280. Like it was just such a regular number. I was like, no one will remember that. You couldn't even make a number. You couldn't even make it like 1-800-GET-CATS. Not even try. Now I'm over here, I see the mountain lion, I don't have a bat on me, anything. I'm doing the regular thing, the thing that we know to do. No, I'm not messing with you. I'm not playing with you. Get away from me. Oh no, oh geez, right? And now I'm trying to call the number and I'm like, 1. Now I'm over here, somebody knows the number. That's insane. That's too earnest. Don't. That's we. Imagine though, because this is my thing. This is just my thinking. If I saw the mountain lion, right, and it was over here, not just minding its like ring camera business, not just going about his day. Maybe I saw the mountain lion. The mountain was like, "Hey, city ain't big enough for the both of us." I'm not gonna lie, just for the sake of brevity, I would probably call 911. But the idea that there's a whole extra set of numbers to call if you see the mountain lion makes me wonder that like if you call 911, they'll be like, a mountain lion? You called the wrong 911. Look, I'll give you the number call, write it down. You can't transfer me? No, we 3 numbers, they're 10 numbers. You just can't transfer like that. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I'm just praying I have a good time in Rochester. I don't see a mountain lion in the very high bushes y'all have. Y'all have been busy since I've been gone. Y'all have had a string, multiple robberies. See, I haven't even specified yet, and y'all have had a string of robberies of the mail. I was reading about it, mail carriers are getting robbed, and that's just, I like an unboxing as much as the next person, but like that's truly insane. It's mail. It's more likely you stealing bills. Imagine. Oh, would have been great if somebody had robbed my house when I only had bills in it, you know? I can't even imagine what that would be like for the mail carrier, because it'd be different if you're like a Brinks truck. It'd be different if you went to wherever, because they go everywhere and they do these shipments from different places and stuff. It would be different if you went to like, you know, some grocery store. They had to do their deposit. You show up with the truck. They always have like 2 of them there. And I used to think that was for security, but the worse the economy gets, I'm like, nah, that's so somebody doesn't quit on the job. That's so somebody doesn't just drive off with the truck. There's at least one other person there to keep you accountable. But they'll have the person who's like loading up the truck or loading something in from the place that they're picking up from, and then they'll have one person just sort of standing there looking at everybody. I used to work at a grocery store. This exact thing would happen. Like, they would come with the truck and there would be somebody that looked at everybody like a suspect. You would have grapes in hand and he'd be like, what's up though? Like, you trying to, it's like, oh, I'm trying to, check out, get rung up. It's like, okay, all right, likely story, but okay. And then, they go off, they deliver it to the bank or whatever. I can only imagine if you work at the mail. And somebody roll up on you. Maybe they have a gun, maybe they don't. And they're like, hey, come up out of everything. I don't even think you'd be trying to be brave. I think out of genuine confusion, you'd be like, the mail? Yeah, everything you got. It's like, I can tell you right now, because of the route that I'm on, none of these about to be checks. You know what I mean? Because it's not even like they're robbing the mail carrier of like the best neighborhood. You just robbing the mail in hopes. It would be different if this was like the 1800s. It would, because back in the day when they robbed trains, those trains did bring like mail with them. And a lot of that mail was like, from bank to bank, or somebody sending something to someone that was precious. You had these great train robberies and everything. Now, you'd be sorely disappointed if you were to hop on an Amtrak. You're like, okay, everybody, this is a robbery. It's like, all right, first of all, let me tell you right now, every single car in that Amtrak, bathroom destroyed. So already, you get on the Amtrak, you'll be like, all right, everybody, this is a... Oh, one of y'all sick? What? Because people used to carry their belongings on them, and now it's just one belonging. Like, now it is, the phone's more important than the wallet. For some people, the phone is the wallet. That's why when some people forget their phone, I'm like, y'all didn't take life seriously at all today. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if I forget my ID, or if I forget one of my like cards, or if I forget my keys or my AirPods. Like, you do the little check before you go, make a song out of it, right? It's very different if you decided, hey, I'm gonna put everything in the phone, that way it's all in one place. Some people even put the card in the little pouch behind their phone. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, this is a horrible idea. Just attaching the wallet to the phone. And they're like, no, now everything's in one place. I'm like, yeah, you made it easy for the mugger. That's all you did. You still gonna be forgetful. I don't know why we think that like changing that thing will like change us. Do you know what I mean? My friend is very forgetful. But then he's like, no, if I just put it all in one thing, I'll be fine. I'm like, no, you'll forget more at once. Your day will be worse. Because then, I already saw this, right? You saw that they put the phone into the back of the case, into the wallet, right? All one thing. Then they were like, why even use a case? Let's just mush the credit cards into the phone, let everybody pay with their phone. So now, a lot of my friends don't even carry credit cards. It's just the phone. So now when you forget your phone, I'm like, who are you? The phone was your ID, it was your credit card, it was your phone. This is what's crazy about losing a phone now, not just on top of not just on top of like how much we keep in it, but my friend locked himself out of his house because he had put his keys in his phone. Because you know they have that thing now where certain scan, you can scan and then just boom, click, and then the door opens. He did that because he was like, why keys? Keys are so archaic. Why am I, and then pitched it to me like this. Why am I just walking around all day jingling? What am I, the crypt keeper? Why am I running around here, clink, 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 clink? No. That is entertainment for babies, all right? Only thing that keys are good for, put the keys into the phone. And then with the credit card, he was like, why am I just carrying around plastic all the time? All the time. Then the card expired. You don't even know the card was about to expire. So then you over here trying to pay for your groceries looking dumb. Looking over here. No, I swear, there's money in the account. I don't know why this is happening. You got the Brinks guy staring at you like, all right, you said it was all about grapes, but it looked like it's not all about grapes. So what's really hood? Now I put the card in my phone. I put the keys in my phone. I got everything all the time. And I'm like, all right, but what happens when you don't have the phone? Because you're telling me all this as like the reason to put everything inside of one thing. But now you're locked out. You're locked out of your apartment and you're sitting in my apartment. Somebody who uses a key to get in. I don't know. I feel bad for you. You gotta use this archaic technology. You gotta turn it with your wrist like you're from 2000 BC. And then that's the other thing that was crazy. It's like all these things that were for ease, he ended up being so much worse off because I told him, I was like, you didn't even have your phone on you to call me. You had to find me. Do you realize how much crazier that is? If you had kept it all separate, if you had diversified your belongings, and then realized, ooh, I forgot my phone. Let me use my key to walk back into my apartment and maybe send an email to a friend or let someone know I'm gonna be late, right? Or if I, forgot my key, I now have a card and a phone to either call someone else who has the key or just go to, where we keep our spare key. You can go where you keep your spare key. Because you keep a spare key, right? You keep one physical copy, right? You keep one physical key, and then you keep your phone key. Because one of those keys isn't dumb. And he was like, why would I have a backup regular key? Just so somebody can find that key, break into my place, and steal all my belongings. I'm like, it sounds like you have one belonging. It sounds like... I'm waiting for when they do that. I'm waiting for when Apple is like, no, put the couch in the phone. Just trying to get you to sit on your phone to be comfortable. And then when your phone cracks, it's like, oops, maybe that was a bad idea, but you will need a new phone. We're doing all this stuff and it's just doing too much. Doing too much and doing too much. And then you get to the place where you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. You get to the place where you're robbing the mail. Truly for what? At best, it might be like a blender. If you are robbing the mail and it is not an Amazon package, you're already losing. Because when I tell you right now, this mail that you're stealing, this like paper that you're stealing, is paper that the people it's going to don't want. Forget bills. This is like begging people to open up a new credit card. It's begging people to subscribe to a magazine they subscribed to one time. It's just asking for money. And then you do that, and then you open all that mail in your place, which is also against the law. You doubling up on felonies. What's the plan here? Because now you've opened the check. Let's say you got a check. Let's say somebody still works in 1990. And let's say that you got the check. What is the plan now? To go to the bank and be like, hey, I'm 8 people. No. But who knows? Maybe the banks in Rochester just cash whatever y'all bring. I have no idea. Maybe this makes sense. I know it's been spoken on already, but I am genuinely, I've been looking it up, I've been educating myself, and I'm fascinated at the origin of the garbage plate. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not here to talk about if it's good or not, or the aesthetic or anything like that. I'll get to the aesthetic, but like the name. I don't know. This is what I think happened. This is okay. Look, I'm pitching you what I think happened because we didn't have to get here. Anything that is good does not also have to have like a derogatory name, right? But I think that like something happened. Something happened where like I live in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, and New York City is very dirty. There's a lot of garbage out. No alleys, just street. I remember the first time when I moved to New York, because I moved to New York with very little frame of reference of what New York would be like. And so I moved to New York and I saw the trash on the street and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were in a state of emergency. I had no idea. I picked the wrong time to move because the garbage, and piled up too, almost organized in its chaos, piled up about waist high at the sidewalk, you know? And then I realized that's what you do there. You put the garbage on the street. Like for a day, well, not a day, for like 3 days out of the week, we are the garbage. And somehow nobody has seen fit to just make an alley. Isn't this one of the oldest cities in America? At any point in time, somebody could have been like, look, we're gonna have to like eminent domain this one brownstone so that everybody doesn't have to live like the apocalypse happened 5 months ago. It will be a beautiful day in New York City. You'll be walking happy. And then you will, as an adult, I thought I smelled all the smells. As a grown person, I was positive I'd even smelled all the mixes. And sometimes you'll be walking in New York City, and it will be a beautiful day. It'll be a picturesque day. It'll be one of those days that they direct movies with the scene that you're seeing. It's almost like God's cinematography. When you look around New York City, the sun is coming up. There's that golden hour, everything's shining off, the building's just perfect. Maybe you walking and you walking with somebody you love, you holding hands and everything, and then you even go to say, I love you, right? You go to express, because you get swept up in this moment, this beautiful, beautiful moment that somehow you can only experience in New York City. Plenty of places are beautiful, but this moment can only happen in New York City, and you go to say, I love you, but that means you open your mouth. And so now this person whose eyes you were looking deep into, you go, You can't even describe it. You can't even describe. The only thing that even comes close to it is if you like ran onto like an Amtrak train with the bathroom door open. You've never felt or smelled anything like that. You felt like you were walking through a cloud when it happened. And now you're doubled over. That moment has happened in New York City for as long as New York City has been around. Since its founding. Since they were like, no, just mush them together. Nah, everybody want to live here, mush them together. No, it's... and on top, too. Let's build up. No, it means more trash, but it means more people to, pay more taxes for us to still not have figured this out. Look, it's a phenomenal idea. There's no way, no, you can't cut through these buildings. You can't tear something down. No, that'd be crazy. This thing is worth $2 million. This piece of property that nobody wants, that no one will ever want, is also worth $2 million. No, we can't make it an alley. That would be useful. And so, I think maybe somebody saw that entire situation. And they were in Rochester and they were eating at one of their favorite places and they were like, that looks exactly like what's in front of me right now. I've seen it and I feel like there were other names because there were other words available. You know what I mean? This is how I'll put it. It would be like if I baked a cake, right? If I baked a cake and it was a triple chocolate cake, right? So, and not just triple chocolate in the way that it's like chocolate layer, chocolate layer, chocolate layer. Let's say I really took my time. I really did something like decadent. I really made like one layer almost like chocolate chip cookie. It's a little bit more brownie than it is like cake. And then the layer above that, I went a little bit like dark chocolate with it, right? And it had a little bit of filling in the sides of it that was also like something you don't usually get in chocolate cake. And then the top of the chocolate cake, very light. Very like not the like fondant type stuff, like very light icing and a very like moist top, melts in your mouth, right? And then you had this chocolate cake and it was actually, let's just say for the sake of the argument, the best chocolate cake you've ever had in your life. Incredible. You were moved by how good this chocolate cake is because you never had chocolate cake like it. This might make you act different, move different throughout your life. You never had chocolate cake like this before. Never has somebody put chocolate cake on a dish and then you put fork to cake and then fork to mouth and cake to mouth and then felt this good about your life and yourself, right? It's never happened before. And so then you ask because now there's a different person. You're a different person when you had the cake, before you had the cake, and after you had the cake, right? You're about to move through the world with more love, knowing that there's cakes like this to be had. You're about to spread the good word of this cake because more people should have this cake. More people should feel this happiness, right? And you take a break from chewing, from everything, to ask me, what kind of cake is this? And instead of saying triple chocolate cake, instead of listing the ingredients, you ask me what type of cake it is, and I say, Dookie. I called it Dookie, because, no, because when you look at the plate, you know what I mean? No, it looked like Dookie, so I called it Dookie. That makes it more enticing, doesn't it? Have another slice of Dookie. That's when I garbage plates. They may have found signs of ancient life on Mars,
And I don't know how that helps us. That's y'all did it. You know what I mean? Ancient life on Mars. Not current life. To my understanding, they have found signs that somebody used to be there. Okay. All right. Imagine somebody coming to you and being like, this place used to be cool. Because I've thought about that. I've thought about how, what if, let's just say, for the sake of argument, what if there was like ancient life on Mars? And like ancient beings, we're not talking about like little microbes or anything like that, like intelligent beings. Like obviously we would call them aliens and everything because they're over there, we're over here. But like they lived on Mars. And then even though they're intelligent beings, they didn't always act in a way that was intelligent. You know what I mean? They didn't take care of themselves, each other, or their planet. And maybe they built out systems that didn't actually benefit all of them, just a few. And then it got to a point where they were not just unhappy with each other, they were unhappy with their planet, a planet that they had basically ruined. It used to be dope, and now it's whatever it is now. And so then they worried that there was no way to reverse course. There was still time, but they were like, what are you gonna do? And so then they, over time, remember, this is ancient. Remember how long the universe has been around. They looked around and they were, in some ways, very intelligent. Maybe intelligent enough to find another place to live. And maybe they find a place, and maybe it's called Earth. And maybe they went to Earth and they, been on Earth for so long, they forgot where they came from, but being intelligent beings, they made all the same mistakes all over again. And so then there comes this day where they look around and not really happy with themselves or each other or their planet, and rather than hopefully not wrecking it or themselves, they're like, what if we went to Mars? I don't know, maybe there's something there. Because I do think that, I don't know, I feel like that's as likely as finding life on Mars. Because that is where we're at for the most part. There's a lack of belief in the idea that you can still build community, or the idea that people can still see each other as people. That's incredibly troubling and scary. I think that we rely now on communication that is more served to us than we seek out. We feel like we seek it out because we're discovering it in real time. In real time, you are discovering your For You page. In real time, you are discovering when you're scrolling and you feel like because you're making the choice to scroll that it's the choice what you see next, but it really isn't. And based on a bunch of things about you, we think we're shaping the algorithm, and it's a high likelihood it's the other way around. Because based on how you've built your habits gets based on whether you get served contempt or compassion. And so then when it's time for us to talk, we have a very different view of how people are in the world. Like all of social
all of this stuff, every platform, it's just a mirage. But when you're out in the desert by yourself, which it feels like a lot of people feel that way. A ton of people feel like they're out by themselves, right? And you see this thing up ahead and you think you know what it is, and it turns out to be a mirage. It's very hard to convince anyone of that idea. And so that's what I watch more of than anything else. It's just the idea that, like, I know what's going on, I know what people are saying, I know how people think, and I've got a big picture of everything that's going on. It's like, I promise you have a snapshot. No person, no single person online is one thing. No idea is one shared belief by everyone. And once again, no matter what you do, even when you think you're gaming the system, even when you're like, but I log out sometimes, I guarantee you, you're being served a certain amount of contempt and a certain amount of compassion, and it's all driven to keep driving you. You want to know what people think, you want to know how people are, you just talk to people. This is the only way to find out. If you want community, you build it as best as possible. And you build it in any way that you can. Some of that will include being online. Some of that, I'm not talking about like talking to your friend in a DM. I'm talking about like the way we see each other is so important. And the way we see each other is being like molded and affected without people understanding that they didn't actually get to participate in some of this. You don't know what impact you have to anyone that's like outside of your sphere. It's why I do my best. I'm not perfect, but why I do my best to be, hopefully, the best version of myself all the time. Because people are only going to see a sliver. So if what they see is good, maybe they'll think the world's a little bit better. And if they see bad, they might think the world's a little worse. And it goes moment to moment. And no matter how much you try to put out, you can still get drowned out. But I know that when I see people, when I see anger, when I see hate, when I see love, when I see compassion, I know that I'm seeing all of it at one time. And then the real mix of it that's out there is different than what's in my phone. The same way you shouldn't put your keys and your wallet and your... Do you know what I mean? The same way that if you put everything in the phone and then you lose sight of what you're up to, you're lost. It's the same way that you cannot just trust that what you're seeing and what people are saying, and these people as well, these people, whoever these people are. Because that's the other thing about opinions online. It's the other thing about people online. We didn't vote for like a king or queen of online. Somehow any person saying anything is representative of everybody at any given point. That's not possible. I wish it was what was happening when it was like a smart person. But like, who knows? Like, smart people usually don't keep you online because they're like, hey, you should live your life. It's very bad for business. When people live their lives and when they meet people and when they talk to people and they have real conversations with people, when they really sit down with people and they get to know people, that's scary. It's scary for everybody who benefits from what you're like when you're just on your phone. You need to be very, very careful of how we look at other people, how we judge other people, because I'm telling you right now, this thing will run away from you. You will leave the house thinking the entire world is the devil without ever having checked with any other person. Do you know what I mean? I've gone outside and I've talked to people, and there are people, I'll tell you right now, there are people that scare me. There are people that scare me. There are people that walk around on trash day in New York and yawn. That's insane. That's it does. I don't know if it gets crazier. That's terrifying. And I'm talking like hot summer trash day. Not today, Satan. No, I see that, and I'm not gonna lie, I cross the street. I treat them like they got a pit bull. I treat them like, you know? Well, yeah. Like I don't know. And sometimes you want to throw your hands up and just say, none of it's worth it or anything. And I don't know. I just don't believe that. There are some things that happening and your response, what you put out into the world, it is coming back. It may not feel that way. And maybe you're a kid and you're impulsive and somebody makes you angry online, so you get real nasty with everybody all day, and you don't even think about like the ripple effect that thing has. But like people take online, obviously is not real, but people take real things off of it, you know. And I've talked about this before. I'm never stop talking about it because I genuinely believe it from the bottom of my heart that the bravest thing you ever do. I remember I read this and it stuck with me, and I hope it sticks with me for the entirety of my life, because this is how people make money. This is how people control you. This is how people mess with your mind. This is how people turn you against other people. The bravest thing that you will ever do in your entire life is accept that there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing intrinsically wrong with you. There's nothing that is like that needs to be bought to fix you. There's nothing that you need to, and that is not to say that everyone is a perfect person. I'm not saying people don't need to work on themselves. I'm saying that like you are not beyond the measure of like the love and care that a person should receive, right? And then the second scariest thing you'll ever do in your life, and like some people can't do it. Some people live and die. They get buried without ever doing it. The other scariest thing you'll ever do in your entire life, I promise you, is change your mind. And like, I don't think that I personally don't think we're in a place where we're too far gone. These two things can still happen. It takes a second for them to happen. It takes a moment for either one of them to happen. That there is nothing wrong with you. Now, you're not perfect. You make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing unfixable, unlovable about you. And then there's a world that looks different than the world in your phone or even the world from your experiences. But I promise you, changing your mind will not kill you. But this isn't the world. It's not even your world. It's just what you're being served to keep you on the platform. But I think somewhere along the line, we start to feel like it's a window instead of a TV. Do you know what I mean? It's not a window. There's no way to know what everybody thinks. And there is no like side to reality. So when you're watching something, and when you're watching people react to something, you're seeing a piece of it, but you have to remember what you're being served. Like that's what's happening. Different amounts, compassion, contempt, depends on how you look, depends on where you go. It's worth seeing the full picture for yourself. I think to fail to do that is to start to fail to be as human as you can be. You know, this thing that we have is this incredible tool, but like tools are also weapons. A tool can protect you, and you can use it to hurt other people. Like if you thought a mountain lion was like walking around all the time and you just had a bat with you just in case, it's like not. But these things are tools, and it just it's very important to remember who's using the tool. We think it's us all the time, and I think that that is a mistake. To think that we use it, that it doesn't work the other way around ever. I love you all, and I appreciate every single one of you. I don't want to see I don't want to see people destroy themselves because they thought that they had a mirror, they thought that they had a window, and they just had a TV. You know? So I appreciate every single one of y'all. I can't even describe it. I was so excited to come here and spend time with you, and that is definitely in spite of the mountain lion. So, Rochester, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all so much.
Mira,